Ever wonder how you can turn a key, use a screwdriver, or even just wave hello? Well, the secret is all thanks to one of the most cleverly designed bones in your entire body, the unsung hero of your forearm. Today, we're diving into the amazing story of the radius.
But first, let's try a little experiment. Go on, do this with me right now. Plant your elbow firmly on a table. Now, without moving that elbow one bit, flip your hand from palm up to palm down. How in the world is that possible? Your upper arm is totally locked in place. So what's the hidden mechanism that makes it work?
You guessed it, the secret is the star of our show today, a truly remarkable bone called the radius. It's the entire reason that simple but absolutely essential movement can even happen.
Okay, so to really get how it works its magic, we've got to know exactly what it is and where it lives in your arm.
So, the radius is one of the two long bones chilling in your forearm, running all the way from your elbow down to your wrist. An easy way to find it? Hold your arm out, palm facing forward. The radius is the one on your thumb side. It sits right next to its partner in crime, the ulna.
But just knowing its address doesn't tell us the whole story. The real magic, the thing that makes the radius so special, is what it does. It is a true master of movement.
And here's the game changer. Unlike a simple hinge joint like your knee, which just bends back and forth, the radius is designed to pivot. It literally spins around the ulna, which stays pretty much put. That single, elegant rotation is what lets you pronate and supinate your hand. That's just the fancy way of saying turn your palm down and then turn it back up.
Now, to pull off this incredible trick, the radius has to connect with its neighbors in four very specific, very critical places. Let's trace those connections, shall we?
First up, we're at the elbow. The very top of the radius connects with your main upper arm bone, the humerus. This connection lets you do the obvious stuff like bending and straightening your arm, but it's also the anchor point that sets the stage for the incredible rotation to come.
Second, and you've got to pay attention here, this is absolutely key. The radius also connects with the ulna right there at the elbow. This creates the first major pivot point. Think of it like the top hinge on a swinging gate. It's essential for the entire thing to rotate.
All right, third, let's travel all the way down to the other end, to the wrist. The bottom, wider end of the radius is the main connection point for your entire hand. It meets up with those small carpal bones, which is why when you flex or extend your wrist, the radius is really the one doing all the heavy lifting.
And our final connection brings the whole system together. Down at the wrist, the radius links up with the ulna again, creating that bottom pivot point. So you've got the top hinge at the elbow and a bottom hinge at the wrist. Those 2 points are what allow the entire radius to rotate smoothly around its axis. It's just brilliant biological engineering.
So we know what it does, but how does its physical shape allow for all this movement? To find out, we're going to go on a quick tour of the bone itself, checking out the specific landmarks that make it the pivot master it is.
And we're going to keep this tour super simple. It's just 3 stops. We'll start at the top, near your elbow, then move down the core or the shaft, and we'll finish up at the bottom, right by your wrist.
Okay, first stop, the proximal end. The star player up here is the radial head. It's got this smooth, disc-like shape that is just perfect for rotating. Right below that, you have a narrow neck, and then you see this important little bump called the radial tuberosity. Now that's not just some random lump, it's the docking point for your powerful biceps muscle. When your biceps contracts, it pulls right on this spot to help you bend your elbow and powerfully twist your palm upwards.
All right, let's move on to our second stop, the shaft. This is the long middle part of the bone. It's got a pretty unique triangular shape, and it actually gets wider as it travels down toward your wrist, which gives it extra strength and lots of surface area for muscles to attach to.
And for our final stop, we're at the very complex and super important distal end. On the thumb side, you've got this pointy bit called the styloid process. You can actually feel it on your own wrist. On the other side, there's a small but vital little divot, the ulnar notch, which serves as that all-important lower pivot point against the ulna. And finally, you have these 2 smooth surfaces that basically cradle your wrist bones, making this end of the radius the true foundation of your wrist joint.
So we have this really intricate bone, but it doesn't just pop into existence fully formed. Let's take a quick look at how the radius actually develops, going from just a simple blueprint to a functional bone.
This process is called ossification, and it happens in stages. It all kicks off way back in the 8th week in the womb when the main shaft starts to form. But it's nowhere near done. After birth, new bone-forming centers pop up, first at the wrist, then at the elbow, and finally at that biceps attachment point. It's amazing to think this single bone isn't even fully complete until you're well into your teens. It's a slow and steady construction project.
But you know, the radius's critical role in how we move also puts it directly in harm's way. Because we instinctively use our arms to brace for impact, this hard-working bone is actually one of the most common places for a fracture.
I mean, think about it. When you fall, what's the very first thing you do? You throw your hands out to catch yourself. All that force travels right up your arm, and the radius often takes the full brunt of the impact. This makes it one of the most frequently broken bones in the entire body.
And these falls lead to a few classic types of breaks. The most common is a Colles fracture, where the broken piece of the radius gets pushed backward. That's your typical fall on an outstretched palm injury. A Smith's fracture is just the opposite, often from falling on the back of your hand. And you can even fracture the radio head itself from a direct fall onto your elbow. Each break really tells a story about how the force hit.
So the next time you turn a doorknob or wave goodbye to someone, take a second to thank your radius, the humble pivot master of the forearm. Its clever design is just a perfect example of form meeting function. But remember, the radius is only one of over 200 bones in our body. It really makes you wonder, right? What other hidden stories and incredible mechanisms does our skeleton hold?